In this video, I'm going to give you guys the most powerful tool in the toolbox to build your wealth. So stay with me. If you haven't already, hit that like and that subscribe button so you don't miss any of my upcoming content. Thanks so much, you guys. All right, let's dive right on in. Spoiler alert, I'm a realtor, so obviously, to me, the most empowering way to build wealth is through home ownership. I'm going to get into the nitty-gritty of what that means and what that looks like and how and why, but I'm going to preface all of this with, I'm not a pressure pusher. I'm never going to pressure anybody to buy anything ever or sell, because really, home ownership, home buying, and home selling are so important in your lifestyle and your finances that you should only ever do any of the above when you are ready. So if there's an agent in your life or on the internet who's like pushing you to buy or sell, like, we don't want that, we don't do that, because it's a super important and personal decision, and it should only be made when the time is absolutely right, which doesn't always have to be when the market tells you it's time. There are a lot of factors to consider. So now that I got that out of the way, I am going to tell you all the reasons why you should buy a home, whether it be today or 10 years from now. So let's dive in. All right, one of the best known ways and most impactful ways that owning a home can build your overall wealth is through equity. Basically, equity is the gap between what you owe on your mortgage and what your home is worth in current market value. So you actually build equity every time you make a mortgage payment because you're paying down that first metric of what you owe on your mortgage, right? As you build equity, you can actually borrow against it, which a lot of people who are investors do that. They'll take out a home equity loan, a HELOC, and they will use those proceeds to invest into another property and so on and so forth. A lot of people who end up owning a lot of rental properties, this is one way that they use equity to do that without having to actually withdraw money from their own savings account. So equity is one of the most impactful ways that you can build wealth. Another way is through appreciation. Now, we know that real estate investing is a long-term strategy, right? Typically, I mean, there are some markets where things change really quickly and maybe flipping is a profitable or lucrative idea, but in most cases, we are buying homes and we're holding them 3 to 5 years, and over that span of time, historically, you're going to see a profit. You'll always hear realtors say, the best time to buy is 5 years ago, and like, I'm not gonna stand here and regurgitate real estate catchphrases, but it is something that has some truth behind it, right? Ultimately, when you buy a home, if you hold it for that like 3 to 5 year period, in most cases, it's gonna be worth more after that than what you paid for it. So if you sell it, then you will realize all of that appreciated value. This is another really powerful way to build wealth. And when you combine appreciation with equity, like, oh boy, that's a lot of money in a lot of cases. Another way that homeownership helps build wealth is through all of the tax benefits that you may be eligible for. In a lot of cases, you can write off your mortgage interest, your property taxes, and in some cases, even certain home improvements. So these tax savings can actually help you increase your disposable income, which you can then use to invest or save or whatever you want to do with it. So overall, owning a home is a very valuable asset, especially over time and for the long term. You also have to keep in mind, though, that owning a home does sometimes come with significant expenses. I will tell you that 2 weeks after we bought our home that we live in now, a pipe exploded and flooded the whole place, and we had to put in all new floors that we had just put in again. So there are expenses. You do have to keep in mind that like deferred maintenance is gonna have an overall impact in the value of your home if and when you do go to resell it. So you don't want to put stuff off that's important for too long. I'm thinking about like roof, I'm thinking about siding, I'm thinking about like major things that are going to be a huge deterrent if and when a buyer comes along to purchase your home. It's always a good idea to have a special savings account that's just for home expenses, and make sure that that savings account is interest bearing so that you're at least making some profit, but it's something that can easily be accessed in case of emergency, like a flooding of your home. Of course, it's always important to make the right choice based on your finances and your situation. I'll never say it any other way. All right, you guys, if you have any other questions about home ownership or buying and selling real estate or the Reno Sparks housing market, I would love to be a resource for you. You can book a call with me. It's totally free, no obligation, no strings attached. Just an opportunity for us to connect and see if we might be a good fit to work together and make sure that you understand everything that you have questions about. So there's a link to do that in the description box below. And if you haven't already, please make sure that you hit the like and that subscribe button. It really helps me out, you guys. I will see you next time. Thanks so much for joining me.